Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to our audience to Arrow's Education Professional Roundtable live stream here today. Last week, we have resumed this very special event or program on Arrow's education. The purpose is to bring about, professionals and people who has been in the industry to share their experience and their professional stories and journeys so that we can help you to make better career choices, better education choices in your further study. And we are so happy to have Mr. Rio Julian here today with us, who is trained as an engineer. Hi, Rio. Trained as an engineer and pivot into data scientist. It's big data was such a thing right now. And from now a data scientist, he has now decided to run a startup to as an entrepreneur in this industry. And so we're so happy to have him here today. Yeah. And the purpose of uh, this interview, this live stream here, we really want to get to know Rio and your story and some of the choices that you made and how it would help our students and our parents maybe make a decision on where they should go pursue their next education study, further study in overseas university. And that's the aim and goal of Arrow's education. And so, yeah, without further ado, let's dive into today's session by asking Mr. Rio, can you tell us a little bit about your background, where you grow up in, and where did you pursue your undergraduate and graduate studies?
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Rio Julian. I was born and grew up in Kalimantan, part of Borneo, so part of Indonesia. Uh, I spent my childhood in Kalimantan and I moved to Java, Indonesia. It's another island in Indonesia where I spent my high school and university in Bandung. So Bandung is they have a one good technical school, technology school. It's one of the best in Indonesia. So I went to Bandung Institute of Technology doing my undergrad in industrial engineering. And after that, I was lucky enough to get a scholarship to move to Japan to do my master in same thing, industrial engineering. That was with Tokyo Institute of Technology. It's one of the prime university for technical education.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thank you. Those are the institute that sounds like MIT of their respective country, and it would have been so beneficial to be able to pursue your undergraduate study there. But my question would be like, what sparked your initial interest, right, to for you to take industrial engineering back then, in your interest in engineering and technology? And was there any particular courses or project during this study period that had a significant impact on your career choices?
Right. I think would be beneficial for people who listen to this. Let me step back into my high school time. When I did my high school, I was more interested in math and logic instead of memorizing things
Hmm.
or social science. So I think I was drawn into math, into physics, a little bit of chemistry, but I hate biology. I really hate biology because I don't know, it's more of like reading and then knowing the body, memorizing the body, and then the next range after that is chemistry. I hate chemistry because a lot of memorizing. While physics and math is more of logical. You know the right answer, and you can get it right. If you follow certain procedures, you can get it right. So that's what sparked my interest in engineering. The first one that is that, and second one is more on the how the society looks engineers. If you, I don't know about Malaysia or any other country, Nigeria, but in third world country or developing countries, people see engineering as a prestige compared to people who's doing economics or accounting or law even. So it's a bit of how the society look at that, and I feel like, oh, everybody says, oh, you go to engineering, you'll get a good job, blah blah blah, because that's how the society looks at you, right? But compared to someone from the U.S., probably in the U.S. will be economics or law will be more appreciated, right? So that's partially how I sparked my interest to go to engineering, just because people around me speaking about engineering a lot, so I go there. You don't know, right? You're still a high school student. It's just okay. People say this, people say that, but at that time, probably the most prestigious one is become a doctor. But I know I hate biology, so I don't go there. Purposely, I don't go there.
Yeah. So it does sounds like that you already have a natural affinity to certain aspect of science and technology, which in this case would be physics, would be logical thinking, mathematics um, that actually drove you to take engineering in as your undergraduate study because it just seems normal. And
Right.
you're saying also your environmental factor, cultural factors that
Mhm.
wow, engineering it's a cool thing to do,
Right.
and you went into it as well. So that's completely fine to do what might be popular at the time. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So well, I got to know you a little bit, and after hearing your story, it's so amazing. Like from being an industrial trained as an industrial engineer, go into data scientist, go into entrepreneurship. I just feel like you got to share this story with our audience here. So can you tell us a little bit of how that happens and your career journey?
I see. So engineering, you spend a lot of times doing math, doing physics kind of thing, drawing engine or drawing a machine, and then do like optimization of a problem. So it's more of, I think the base is mathematical, but it's different than the math major where you do a lot of theoretical math, but it's more of applied math when we do science, when we use science and technology. And the one that sparked my interest in data science is because I think on the second year or the third year we have this uh, subject or class in data analytics. When we see that, okay, well, I feel like what sparked my interest there is I can see it clearly. Oh, this data is very interesting. How you connect certain data, how you do left join. I don't know if you remember, if some of you know SQL. I really interested into SQL, looking like what this data. If you connect this data, what's the new insight that you can get, and if you tell a story with data, put a picture and put a graph on it, then it will tell a story. So it's a bit of statistics and probabilistics there too. That's how I feel like, I think it's naturally when you're good at something, you like it, and you feel like you don't need to work too much to to beat your competition, right? So I call this a native genius. If you have this
Mm,
native geniusness inside of you, you don't work too much, and you can beat a lot of people, and you like it. So I think these two things, right? I believe everybody has this native genius, and when you follow this native genius, naturally it will go to the direction that you like. But of course, it's still a lot of work there. Of course, a lot of work. But if you compare that to your peers, you know that, oh, you like this a lot. Um, I know some people, for example, I cannot dance, but my daughter loves dance so much, love dancing so much. So when you see this, that's her natural talent. It's not just talent, but her native genius. She doesn't need to spend like 10 minutes to memorize a new dance, for example. So this kind of thing, like I would encourage people to, or students, to find what is their native genius, and really try to find themselves into that, try to do it, and then if you if you feel like that's too tough, try another thing. Fail fast. I think that's what Mark Zuckerberg always tell his employee in Facebook, that fail fast is one of his mantra. I think I would agree with that, because that's where you know what you're good at. Sometimes even the things that you're good at, you tend sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm not that good enough after you see a lot of competition, for
Mm.
example.
Yeah. Yeah, this sounds like your transition into data science was more because you have a, you say, natural genius to it. Like you already love the thing, and when you looked at it, it comes naturally to you. Right? Just you just mentioned that you could see the picture coming alive, and then you
Yeah,
understand the whole thing. um, you and I are doing the same similar engineering background. I was an industrial engineer too, but I
I
look
see.
at statistics, I look at all this data. Oh man, it just sucks my soul out.
I
But when you
see.
ask me about to do other parts of industrial engineering, like yeah, like for example, one part of industrial engineering that I really like was to looking into how you level load your production and all those things. Are
I
those
see.
things are really good for me, you know and it's so interesting to find that, hey, it actually within engineering itself, within industrial engineer as a study, like you could still find little things that you can find natural genius on, and focus in on that.
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
so don't
Totally.
you agree? Yeah, I think you would agree with me that actually engineering, even within the course, there is a spectrum of many things that you can actually get good at.
Yeah, definitely. And inside engineering itself, you have, I think, two streams, right? The soft engineering and then the hardware, like really creating robots, do electrical engineering. Even in the electrical engineering, you do power plant, which is like a big power plant that you want to build. You do electrical, like create a PC or create a robots. That's electrical engineering too. So you have your certain affinity towards something. I think I suggest to follow that for student, for people who listen to us. Um, the people probably not just to put a spot on engineering, but also social science. I would throughout my career, I put more respect toward people who do social science, marketing, psychology. All of these things is very very useful subject too, because what's different with these people with this major with engineering, you come to the right, once you do something, you know the right answer to it, right? You
Mm,
get the A, that's the right answer. There will be some tolerance or error when you calculate something, but it's a bit easier to grasp. But with social science, with marketing, you don't know what is the right answer, and that's, I think, it's harder for me.
mm,
So I know I'm amazed how people can predict, can come up with some slogan of this is my brand. When you do something, some kind of marketing, this is my brand, I want to push it forward. But for some people like engineer cannot grasp that, like what, why people speaking about branding, why people speaking about how to understand people. Engineering people do not try to understand people, but marketing people, they try to understand people, right? So this is two different things. And then throughout my career, I found like people is really hard to understand. I mean, engineering is a lot easier. So I put a lot of respect to people that who like to do psychology, who like to do marketing, who like to do social science, because it's a lot harder.
yeah. And it sounds to me like these things has their own values, and people who has their, like you say, natural genius towards those things. Then, and when you're doing something that you're naturally good at, and it's just so much more effective.
Right.
Yeah. While we're now here trying to promote engineering as a course that you should pursue, and we're hard selling it for sure, but we're also saying that there is, even if you're not doing engineering, there are so many natural geniuses that you might find yourself in that still provides value in the market, just depending on different application as well. Yeah, so really appreciate that insight as well. Yeah. I think we're more interested because we've seen last week we've seen that being an when you're doing engineering, it seems like a lot of people somewhere along their career path they pivoted, and for you, you pivoted towards data scientists. Um, so what are some of the biggest challenge when you face when you change a little bit of that direction there, and how did your engineering background helps you in that career change?
So I think yeah, the data scientist is a bit more. It's if you're coming from a statistics background to be a data scientist will be very very good. But I found my interest in the data. So in data scientist itself, you have different kind of like sub area, sub domain, and people who can wrangling with data, make the data clean, do a lot of SQL, data wrangling, data cleanup, and stuff like that. That's partially more of engineering, but data scientist more of statistics. So I took statistic. I hate statistic when I did my engineering. I hate it. I hate it in my life. Because the book is was this tech, I forgot the name. It's a very famous one.
Basic
Uh,
statistics, right? I have the book here.
it, what's the publisher? What's the author?
uh, Mark Kimley, Stephen Smith, and Ronald Burdin.
And
I think
not
I
that
think
one.
it's one of yeah.
Not that one. I still remember the book. It was I hated it. But when I saw that I am interested in data, I like data. I like to do data crunching and stuff like that. I need that statistic. So
Mhm.
that was the first hurdle that I found that I need to learn statistic because I like this a lot. I want to learn. I want to be a good data scientist, so I have to study statistic. Then I opened the book again. I relearn the things, and then make sure that I speak the language of data scientists because you cannot just speaking engineering data scientist and being engineering data. So that's the first hurdle that I have to relearn myself, reinvent myself, finding the things that useful for that field. So I think that yeah, I think to relearn the things. I remember that I learned that I hate that, but I have to relearn that. Oh, now I can understand what is the application of this. So I was very practical. I didn't when I study statistic, I didn't like the conceptual thing, the theoretical thing. What is the purpose of this, right? But when I do data scientist, I know okay when we have this, that theory will be useful to apply to this kind of problem. So I think when I see that, I feel like I have more motivation to learn new things.
Mm,
So when I was in university, because I just want to get a good mark, so there was no motivation to learn per, properly, right? Just to get
mm,
the good mark A, B, C, D. But once I go into the marketplace, doing my real work, then I know okay, when I apply this is going to be a good one to 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 say to my boss or to impress another people or to make my project going good, something like that. So that's how I transfer my skill from engineering to data science. But I think it's a bit easier lah, for people who study engineering to do data scientist because you just need to add more statistic. And the other way around, if you learn statistics and you can add some kind of programming SQL into that, it'll be also not super difficult. But I would like to encourage people who never have this engineering or statistic. I know my friend who's doing social science, and then he just started to be interested in data science, and then he just learned everything from zero when he was in a
mm,
marketplace when he started his first year in the company.
yeah.
So I think although you have natural geniusness or natural talent, but don't limit to yourself that you cannot change your natural geniusness can change, and then you can add to it too, right?
Mm, yeah. Yeah, I think we just hit a nugget of gold there. That one, while it is important that we can pursue our natural geniuses, sometimes you will hit certain part of the subject that you really do not like, and but you just gotta pick it up, you know. And I think that's a challenge for every single career, because at
Yeah,
any point of your career, you will come across things that you really don't like,
yeah,
and you just have to like grind through it. You know, you picked up 50% of that knowledge. I think usually it would be helpful for you to do that. And so if anyone wants to be successful in their career, I think having that grit, to be able to grind through difficult and mundane things that we don't like, it's really important as well.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I
and
think I
and
think in the workplace too, right? When I think when we go for picking your career, um, of course you usually go with the one that you like, but along the way, sometimes you feel like that's not what you like. I think it's good to forget that, not forget that, but to try to change or pivot the skills to the things that you like, and then see what the market is. The market needs at that time. So I was lucky enough at that time data scientist was kind of booming. People wants it. So it's a good that I have learned that myself. I remember I spent like 2 or 3 months just learning that thing. So it is a good thing. Like once you know that you like something, I think it's very easy to focus on that and study
mm,
it yourself, make yourself very good at it. So
mm,
but if you don't like it, it's so hard. It's so hard. So I call this a flow. Like if you are in the flow, you
mm,
keep thinking about it. You cannot sleep about it. You cannot sleep like thinking about it. And in morning, the next morning, you start working on it, and it just chasing you. So that's
yeah,
what I call as a flow. Like if you got into that flow, no matter what you do, you'll be successful.
yeah. I think my next curiosity would be, now you're in data scientist. How is that being applied to the companies that you work with, right? So how does the company make use of your knowledge and expertise in data sciences for their advantage?
I see. Okay, so I think the biggest application throughout my career is if you have a credit card
Mm,
or you have a what? Yeah, credit card will be example. That has been my career. So if you have a credit card, you swipe your card. Sometimes you get declined. Sometimes you get approved, right? So this is approval and rejection, approval or decline of your credit card. That was all decided by a data scientist. So data science will look at the historical data for at least 6 months of historical data. They will see like what kind of people are using their card wisely. Wisely mean they pay on time and they pay good. They pay good amount. While the bad people who get declined are people usually not really making a good payment. So that's how we split the population. Of course, it's not perfect, but once we see that from the data, okay, 6 months of data, people like this, they usually good at their payment. People like this are usually not good at their payment. So we try to split it into two, and based on this categorization, we put that into AI. We call it conventional AI, not the AI that you guys know now. Is we call it the conventional AI or predictive modeling. So we put that logic into the machine. So the machine knows, okay, with this kind of people who has this kind of income, who goes to the good school, who lives in certain area, for example, usually paying good. And then people who are different than this, usually they're paying bad. So based on this logic, we put that logic into the machine to decide whether to approve or decline someone when they're using their credit card. So that's the I think one of the easiest application of data science in the real world. Another application, I could think a lot of things, but usually something that predicting something. For example, weather news or weather channel is one of the application of data science. So again, it's based on historical data. If you see this kind of cloud, you see the image of the cloud, and you know they're going to rain, right? 90% of probability is going to rain. So this kind of thing. Similar. What else? So that's one thing. Or yeah, I think that there's two examples that probably easy to follow.
Yeah. Yeah, it does sounds like that a lot of your knowledge that you picked up in engineering, for example, your data analysis skills and your statistics that you hated, they all come together.
Yeah.
Um, when I was doing my industrial engineering, there was a subject of AI that I took as well. So I think if that knowledge comes to play, and then just a mix of all these skills and being applied to your job, yeah, then became all this application that you can do in your career. And yeah, I would say engineering does prepare you for all these skills. Yep.
Yeah, I
uh,
think if we try to sell engineers, I think a lot of good numbers people coming from engineers. And what good about engineers, we are very flexible in term of application, so you can
mm,
apply this to many things. So I know a good consultant, like people who from McKinsey or BCG. I think they have a good, most of them either economics or
mm,
engineering. And then a good founder, people who created a startup, successful startup, they have also a engineering background. I think the base, the foundation that engineering gives is kind of strong and enable you to move to other more specific industry or a more specific domain.
mm, right. Yeah, appreciate that. Tell us more a little bit about the startup that you're working on, or your maybe your entrepreneurship um, career as well. What are the different things that you've tried? What are different things that succeed, or some of the things that fail, right? You can talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think throughout my career, I feel like I think this is related to what fail fast thing.
Mm,
So I've changed my career for 6 times, 7 times, 6 or 7 times. So all different job, all different. I mean, similar is about data, but every time I change company, I feel like I can only work for 3 or 4 years in the same company. I get bored. So it was another like adventure in itself. Like what should I do if I go to the next company? I feel bored again, and should I quit again? Right. So after 7 times of this repetition, I feel like I have to make my own company. I have to do it myself now. Then that's what it is now. So I've been doing this for about 6 months. It's hard. I'm not
mm,
saying this is not hard, and it requires different kind of skills, because um, it's a combination of engineering, combination of sales, combination of speaking with people. That's why I'm telling you that the reading people or knowing people is the best skill to have. Actually, sales is the best skill to have. Your app, no matter how much you know engineering, how much you can make a rocket, how much you can make a good way in the second Facebook or the second Instagram, if you cannot sell it, means nothing. Means
mm,
nothing. So I think, I mean, of course, engineering will be a good background to have, but after that, try to learn people, try to sell the idea that you have, because you cannot, if you cannot sell, people do not know you. People do not recognize you, your ability, or your goodness, or your natural geniusness that you have. So I think the next things that our students need to have is this, the ability to sell. So back to my fail fast thing. So I feel like, okay, I failing. I I don't know what is next to do. So that's I think the natural progression. Like I have to do it myself and trying to make this startup successful. And why AI startup? Because I think that's the thing that I have been doing more on data science, conventional AI, but now there is a new AI which is generative AI. It's not really new, but with the big data, with all this computation power, enable people to do generative AI, which is basically similar to all AI. It's just predicting whatever the object is predicting something, right? So AI, generative AI, is predicting what's the next word that it will come up based on the historical data. So, and this historical data is what the open AI has been teaching a lot of data. So they pull the whole world data, Wikipedia, and they predict what is the next word after this that's going to come if people asking this kind of question. So it depends on the domain, right? So this kind of thing that really attracts me a lot. And then this is like the same thing, we're just predicting something. And that's just a natural progression based on the wave that's coming now. The wave is about AI. If you, so yeah, I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the wave was about blockchain, right? The wave was about crypto.
Mm.
I was thinking about that, thinking, oh, should I ride this wave? And I started to check on it, try to test the water, call it, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Um,
Mm.
but now with AI, okay, wow, this is the new wave. Try to understand that. Okay, this is, I think I can contribute to this. That's why I feel like, okay, this is opportunity for me. Try to test. I first, of course, I test the water first. Not quitting my job, although I finally I quit my job and then go into that.
Mm. Wow. So it does seems like AI has always been part of your application in your industry. It's just that now that with this generative AI coming into play, the whole playing field just kind of level ups a little bit or change extensively, and so you're taking some of the old uh, I would say your old AI application experience and just taking it to another level. Is that what you're doing with your company right now? What exactly would the application be you're trying to do
Right.
with
So
your
I think AI is very wide. What I'm doing right now is try to apply this AI into specific domain. The domain right now is banking because that's the thing I've been trained and I've been experiencing.
mm,
So, for example, using AI to talk to our customers, to banks customers, to try to collect their money. So I make a robot to do debt collection.
mm,
So
wow.
that's the first use case. Second use case now is, although we just found it out, like that's the idealistic that we have. Oh, we want to make this debt collection agent sell it to the bank, and the bank will love it because we are so smart, right? So that's the idealistic. But once you go into the market, people do not really happy with. Are you sure you can do this? Because wow, how good is AI with compared to human? Even human usually cannot really collect the debt quite easily, right? So that's another challenge. So I think this is related to fail fast. When we create a product first, we go to the market. Oh, people do not like it, so we pivot. We do another pivot, try to
Mm,
find something that people like, and we test it in the market. And finally we could find one product that's people like it, and we started to sell that now. And then
mm,
and then again we try to find another product that's probably useful and probably beneficial for the society.
mm,
The one that I'm thinking we are developing right now, the second product that we're developing right now is for AI for recruitment. So imagine that you are a HR people in the big company. You receive thousands of resume every day. How you pick the people, right? Is hard. So we want AI to help us to filter that resume, pick us the right one based on the certain criteria, certain prompt, and then we move them into automatic interview. So
mm,
robot interview, AI will interview you. That's a, I will interview when we once we interview the people, if we see that they're good, we move them to another session of interview. So we do not need a lot of HR people to interview. Uh, that's
Mm,
the, that's the idea that we are developing with another client. Uh, that's probably useful for your business, your education business. Right.
mm, wow. So it seems that AI will have quite a bit of application, and a lot of people are trying out to let AI speak into different problems in the industry and try to resolve certain problem. So
Yeah,
how do you see that AI is evolving in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think the key is it's not going to replace our job. It's going to help us in our job, right? So the concept is co-pilot. So you
Mm,
have the pilot and someone who helping you. So helping you at the back is the AI. So if you have to use it to make your productivity higher, to make my productivity higher. So now ChatGPT or Claude, for example, is one of the tools that I use to help me doing my job. Right? It's just like the old Excel or old Google Docs.
mm,
Yeah, this guy one of the tool that we have to use. I think um, yeah, as long I think the early adopter is very important. So we should teach ourselves to learn to use it, to know what's the behavior of the AI, and use it for our purpose. I think it's not going to change our job. It will make our life easier, and will make people who embrace it become
mm.
more useful.
Yeah. Yep, I feel very vindicated because last week that's exactly what I'm saying to Posadi, Dr. Posadi as well. That AI is not gonna replace a lot of job. It's actually gonna be helpful. It's gonna be a tool to help us in increasing our productivity. So yeah, really thank you for the insight. I think it's a lot of concern for perhaps somebody who is going to pursue an undergraduate study. um, yeah, so which brings us to that topic, right? If somebody is pursuing an undergraduate study, particularly in the fields of engineering, and in our audience are now right now very likely some of them is considering entering a university outside of their own country, and probably will spend quite a bit of money on something that would probably decide the trajectory of their life, and perhaps parents that sends their children to a university as well. So uh, what advice do you have for them? Like, what kind of skills do you think are essential for students who want to pursue a career in engineering, in AI, in data science, and things? And how can parents support their children in this career path choices?
I think they all should know by now, right? The parents should know their kids love math, love physics, or love creating something. Then I think it's a natural talent to have, and then you should the parents should motivate their kids to go into engineering if they are like that. One example is my kid is a builder. She loves to build something. So, and she doesn't like people. She likes people, but she cannot read people. So instead of pushing her into social science, I push her into engineering side or management, making business and stuff like that. I have another daughter. My second daughter is more of people. She can read people really well, really well. So I kind of put like trying to direct her toward this kind of skill, right? This kind of like career, or this kind of school, and we started to see what kind of major that she should took. So I think every parents, especially if you look at your kids, you know what they naturally good at, and I think motivate them in that area is good. But of course, there's a practicality part of it, right? You should see the wave of what's in right now, what's probably good in the next 10 years. Um, I think some career naturally really hard to make money. I mean, pragmatically, right? People who good at being an athlete, for example, good at soccer, no matter how much they get, how much they good at, the competition is very tough. So the probability of someone getting a good money out of soccer is there for sure, but it's tougher than a normal engineering degree, for example. Or to be a good lawyer is very tough. So unless you become an average lawyer and you're good with that, I think that's okay. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, another I don't know, but if you I live in Japan quite long, so the concept of ikigai is really good. Things that you look things that you good at, and what's the society needs at that time, right? So that's, I think, two most important. I think there should be three, but I remember the two is quite very important. What's the society? Okay, what the society needs, what you're good at, and what pays you well, right? These three is very important. So think about these things. Natural talent sometimes do not pay well, so we have to be practical in that, about that. But there's always entrepreneurship or making your own company. For example, I know someone who's um, who's not good in corporate life. He doesn't do well in a corporate life, but once he make his own company, he does it really well, because he can find someone that can help him to complement the skill that he doesn't have, right? So I think if someone has the natural geniusness that's kind of hard to sell in the corporate world, there's always entrepreneurship there, where you find your complementary skill that you hire to help you with your career or with your job or with your company.
Yeah. Yeah, so really, parents, pay attention to your children, spend time with them, and discover their natural talent. But also, I think we need to be practical as well. Have this conversation with your children. Um, yeah, sometimes natural talents doesn't pay well. So what is the most practical approach for them? And then this conversation needs to happen with your children, and to really support and encourage your children in the direction um, that would be best for them. So
Yeah,
yep,
yeah,
I
it's
think we have yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I know, yeah, it's hard. We cannot predict life, right? So as a parent, we just do the best that we can and use, of course, like easy, not easy, like stable job is the best for parent. Usually, parent thinks like stable job for the kids is the best, but sometimes the kids do not like it, and at the end of the day, when they go to corporate life, they get bored and they don't have life, which is another unhappiness that causing their life, causing a lot of uncomfortable things happen in their life.
Mm,
So yeah, we don't know. I mean, we should pray for sure, pray to God, and then ask Him like what's the best thing for our kids, right? A lot
yeah,
of things, a lot of things that not predictable in a company.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question here from the audience, which I feel like it's really an interesting, important question. So uh, maybe the next one from Mark Anthony, it says, "Hi Rio, I'm aspiring to get into data science. Can you share a roadmap for getting started in data science and estimate how long it takes to achieve mastery?"
Is Mark Anthony still in high school or student in university?
Um, I Yeah, let's assume that he's getting into undergraduate studies, right?
I
Because
see.
that's a large majority of our audience. I think
I
it's
see.
not
I see.
included here.
Actually, you good if you can get into data science major. Like some school providing data science major, but it's not necessarily the only way to do it. There are a lot of online course that you can do it. I think I would recommend this course from Andrew NG. I can put it in the chat.
Hmm.
Hold on.
Andrew Ng, right?
Yeah, Andrew Ng from Carnegie. Is he from Carnegie Mellon or Stanford? Yeah, he's like the lecturer for data science. And then, or if you can go with Coursera giving a good pathway roadmap to be a data scientist. Um, of course, once you get into that, there will be certain branching also in that data science. Data science means you learn a lot of statistics, but also when you start doing it, you feel like, oh, you more into data engineering. Data engineering means cleaning up data, make sure that you have this data lake, that you get a lot of data, then you want to make it nice and consumable by data scientists. Data scientists will get all this clean data and they will make sense of it. And then another one is data communicator. Once you have this data science, knowing, oh, this is the insight that I get. Sometimes data scientists, a lot of data scientists, they're not good with communication. They can talk to data, but they cannot talk to people. So there's another data communicator, or yeah, or they call it analytics translator. People who can really understand data, but they can also talk to people. So these three branches are also there inside data scientist itself. So I think the best thing is just to get into it. Roadmap is There's a roadmap, but roadmap can be changed by you yourself to find the right path for you lah.
Hmm.
If,
Yeah.
even in the corporate life, data science could be applied to marketing, could be applied to risk management, the one that I do, could be applied to finding the best stock that you want to invest, for example. So a lot of application of data science. Depending on which field that you like, and then you do data scientist just for that field, that'll be more interesting. That will be more
Mm.
interesting. Of course, in the beginning, you learn about data scientist, the basic one, from the Coursera, from Andrew Ng, and then once you know, okay, I like this specific field, I like investment, or I like risk management, I like marketing, then you dwell into that problem. That problem itself will give you a lot of excitement to solve something for the market. I think marketing is the one that's already very, very mature. So application of data science in marketing is, for example, who's going to click your ads. That's predictive modeling. So you want to show these ads to certain people, also to certain demographic, because they click your ads more than people in India, for example, more than people in US, for example. So this kind of things that the marketing data science is very mature. If you want to start doing it, start with that, because a lot of knowledge already there, a lot of domain knowledge already built there, a lot of expert already there, so you can learn quicker. And then once you know this one field or one domain, then try to look for another domain, which one that you like. For me, I didn't like risk management, but because my job was in there, so I had to do it.
Yeah, so you don't always get to do what you like, yeah. So that's a reality. Yeah. Thank you, Mark Anthony, for that question. I feel like your second question, difference between data analytics and data science, was already addressed just now a little bit on the progression of how data is being used in application. So I think Dr. Boseli wants to ask some questions as well, like what issues do you have with uh, blockchain cryptos, and why did you think AI was a better focus right now?
Interesting
Yeah.
question. I feel blockchain or crypto is too far ahead of their time. So this blockchain and crypto was created by people who do not like to talk to other people. So that's how I feel. So because you created this private key that you exchange the block. So blockchain is like, this is chain and this is block, and then you chain it with some kind of logic that Okay, so they call it what, contract? I forgot the name of it. It's smart contract. So, for example, in Ethereum, they call it smart contract. So they try to solve some things that's very ahead of their time. For example, when you want to put the contract of real estate into blockchain, yes, that's totally possible. That's totally possible, totally safe. So right now, when you want to buy a house, for example, you need to do a lot of paper, reading paper, and finding a property, finding an agent to do it for you. But the idea of blockchain is real estate contract should be handled in the blockchain. Everything will be transparent. Who own this property? You don't need to show the contract. You don't need to show that paper. You just show them, okay, this is my code. I own this property, right? But I don't think it's acceptable for normal people. A lot of people still want to see it by themselves. I don't believe that I have this real estate on my blockchain. How do I open my blockchain? Even for example, when you do transaction on blockchain, it's very very difficult. Even me as an engineer, I know how to do these things. Even for me, like copy this, copy that, download a MetaMask, download another tool to buy something, and then you copy it to Binance. It's just too complicated. It's not ready for the mass. So I see it like this is too ahead of our time. Probably in 10 years, that's probably useful. Another useful thing is for private blockchain. Now, what China doing with their own money? So they have this digital yuan that's under the private blockchain of China. So this is China who created themselves of digital yuan, and then that the purpose of that is to transfer money quickly. Now, when you transfer money to the US, you need about 2 or 3 days using the SWIFT network. SWIFT network is networked by US, but with blockchain, the contract or the exchange of the money transaction or the contract can be done quite quickly.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, but not so many people need that.
Yeah, so it's way ahead of time, which we see with quite a bit of technologies as well. Like
Yeah.
10 years ago, it was already there, but now we find that it used for it. You're saying that blockchain could be the same as well. Maybe 10 years down the road, we will find a use for it again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And why
yeah,
do you think AI is a better focus? I think for me it's because of my background in data science. I think AI transferring my knowledge into AI was not a big jump. So that's
mm,
why I think AI. But now it's also, you don't know, right? The next 5 years, probably the hype of AI also going down, dwindle down a little bit. It started to dwindle down a little bit, but I think with the knowledge that I have, with the core competence that I have, I think I will stick into AI for the next few years.
yeah, yeah. Appreciate your insights on these things. I think this would be very valuable, especially for undergraduates. They are thinking 5 to 10 years ahead. What would be important in that future? Again, you are predicting. You cannot be always sure, but it would be good to understand the trend of the world when you are picking the education path. All right. With this, I would like to thank Mr. Rio, Julian, for your insight and a really really good sharing on your stories, and we get a wealth of knowledge from you. So really thank you for joining us today. And before we leave, I would like to introduce a little bit about Arrow's education and what do we do as a company, right? And Arrows Education, we want to support your dream of going to study, do your undergraduate or your graduate studies in an overseas university. Our services covers over 30 over countries around the globe, and is able to plunge you into over 2,500 education institute around the world. And this covers thousands of courses in all the field from K-12 to PhD. We can help you get into those university. And so Aero Education will help you by analyzing your qualification and gives you advice on the best course of action that you can do, um, completed with all the step-by-step and documents that you need, as well as the all the process that you need to go through. We will give you advice on that, and we will hold you through the entire process. And Aero Education is also offering one of the most affordable support service in university placement. Most of our services are free for you, and we just want to really help you to achieve your dream by getting you into your dream university. So if you'd like to find out more of how you can apply it into the university that you would like, or get into a field that you like to study, reach out to us on our WhatsApp number or on our emails. And you can also find Arrows Education on Facebook and YouTube. Leave us a comment, reach out to us, fill up the forms that's on our website, and we will reach out to you, and we'll take you to the next step. All right. And we appreciate your time here with us, and joining us today for another session of Roundtable, when we will soon announce another session of professional Roundtable uh, with Arrows Education. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's cut off our stream here.